test my audio levels. Hopefully they are okay. Get my Twitch chat preparations. You're hoping you'd get an announcement. This isn't our E3 year. Some years are E3 years for us, other years are not. What I can say is that since we're hiring again, things will probably go faster for a while. Yeah, I'm in a hotel. Flying back home tomorrow if everything goes according to plan. Close some things I don't need. Don't think we need this video playing here. That is unnecessary. Unnecessary. Okay. Sure are a lot of remote pointer patches. Anyway, I'm going to remove some hackiness in the remote pointer patch. Because right now you're supposed to infer what segment something is in, and that's not necessarily a thing now. Category is still slipways. Whoops. That's not the category. I think I had a stale page. Oh, maybe not. Look how fast this is. It's a computer. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Oh yeah. Ugh. Web. People who say web is slower than native, they're lying. It's so fast. So fast. Yeah, anyone who doesn't know about killing chaos, I just don't know what to say. Like how many audio menus are there? Okay. Why is it boosting by 12 decibels, but the levels... All right. All right. Hopefully this doesn't kill chaos, everybody. Hopefully. I mean, it looks fine, right? Looks fine. Fine. Where am I? I am in Colorado. Add remote pointer patch. The fuck is a relocation info? I don't remember that. Okay. Oh, yeah, I do. I do. See, we don't know what segment we're in here. This is a problem. I guess I'm just going to pass it as a parameter. Literally everywhere. That's okay. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Remote pointer patches. So this... All right, well, I'm just going to go to all these, and I'm going to say we're going to pass the segment. That is just what is happening. That is just how it's going to work, and there's going to be a bunch of these. I guess target segment, because this isn't, yeah. Let's look at how this is used for a second before I do something horrible. Oh, we actually need to know. Uh, okay, actually, I'm doing the wrong thing maybe. Because the thing that we need to know, okay, why was I doing this in the first place? I was over here and there's something about, oh, so we have this global database that I'm trying to get rid of. And when we say get segment patch value, there's this if no expression case. And in that case, we say it's going to global data. I don't know. I need to at least document what this is. Let me see what I do over here. This might just be old code. I remember writing that in this file. Now see here, we always say it's got an expression. Okay, I'm going to revert for a second. Oh no, you know what? I might not have checked in from earlier today. I bet I didn't. Boy, this is fast. There's just something mysterious on this one computer that makes Subversion slow. I don't know what it is. It's like maybe the hard drive, the so-called hard drive. Every other machine, it's fine. Oh yeah, I don't think maybe I did. Maybe I did. There's that. There's that. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, it's fine. Most of what I did is fine. All right. So we're going to revert these two. And then we're going to make sure we still build. How often do I have to go back to C++? Never. What do you mean have to? I think self-hosting is not very productive, is what I think. I think it has, the concept of self-hosting has too much marketing because people get wowed by it and they think it's like a major thing when it's actually one of the easier things you can do with a compiler, right? So I have chosen to ignore that, which means, unfortunately, that I have to program in C++ still a significant amount of the time because it's anytime I work on the compiler. But on the plus side, I'm not distracted by building a compiler, right? And instead, I'm making things that people could use. Yeah, it's kind of silly also to base decisions about features on one program. I agree with that. That's why we have a number of programs while the features are still being decided and so forth. We have many programs. Okay, so this is fine. I guess. I don't know why this has taken a long time. It's probably because we're streaming and doing all that. Debug builds. I need to profile the debug builds because it's probably spending most of its time in an assertion somewhere. I don't think I want to do that tonight, but sometime soon. Because the debug build doesn't have to be as slow as it is. Well, the LLVM part we probably can't do anything about, but our part we can do things about. Oh, I didn't need Twitch to be up. I wanted this. We're just going to commit Something I did right before the stream, just removing some variables that we don't need. Um, Two laptops. Yeah, no, I just finally broke down and ordered a new laptop. It's not going to be good. It's like a 2020 Razer laptop or something, but it'll be better than this piece of shit. The problem is it won't have trackpad buttons, so I'm gonna have to deal with that somehow. Um, but I just can't take this anymore. Like, this laptop is bad. It is bad. It is bad. Okay, so this get segment patch value thing. Um, I think we just assert false here. This should literally never happen. Oh, and it's not just that we're doing the debug build of the compiler right now. We're doing debug LLVM, which is like the slowest configuration for the compiler. All right, that'll be good, because if this assert never goes off, then confirmed we always have an expression, and I can make some gains here. And then I think I can get rid of that variable as well. All right. Let's just see if any rogue processes. Let's get rid of Steam. You know, I bet Windows Defender decided to turn on again. All right, anyway. Well, it's just claims to be half idle at any time, and yet the laptop is basically unusable right now. Since, will I keep the assert? I don't care. No, probably not. Because assertions like that don't really do anything, because we dereference it right here anyway. The only reason this would do something is if your assertion like logged an error for users or something, but that's not, our model of assert is that asserts should not go off in code that users are running ever, right? If they do, that's a bug. So like there's no reason to assert here, because you'll just fault here. So who cares? All right. So we're just going to let this run on everything. Even though it's probably fine, it's just, you know, we're just making sure. But this will be great, because I think nobody else uses global database. I mean, this thing sets it, so we can get rid of that, and the actual variable. That's great. And then we can look at some of these other variables. See what we can get rid of. Any minimal change takes 4 seconds to compile. Well, is Rust much faster when antivirus isn't running? I haven't heard from anyone that Rust compiles fast. That has never really been a thing. Any idea how large the code base the compiler is? When one of these shells is free, we will find out. Like now, as soon as this link finishes. All right. This is how slow this laptop is right now. But it claims to be 50% idle. It's just fucked up. All right. So code is now up to 64,000 lines. I believe that is not a mistake. We have somebody who is not me working on a significant sub-feature. Oh no, that is a little bit. Okay. We have a copy file here. Let's delete that and run it again. I did that just yesterday because I was doing tricky changes. All right, so I don't see any other copies. All right, let's try it again. Okay, so we're at a little over 60, which, you know, I don't like getting longer as a compiler speaking, but we are getting features for that. They're getting better at caching. Yeah, but caching generally, unless you start with a pathologically bad system, caching is only an incremental improvement, right? I mean, unless like if you're talking about something like going out to memory and hardware or something, then caching is great. But like if you're talking about software systems that are already mostly architected the way they should be, caching, I don't know, it might give you 5, 10%. It's not going to matter, right? Because if it did more than that, then you're performing a bunch of redundant computation that you shouldn't be doing anyway, which means your code was kind of wrong, right? In some way. Of course, that statement's arguable. It depends on context and so forth. Anyway, so what are these columns? They are blank, comment, and code lines. So we've got a lot of blank lines, a lot of comment lines, a lot of code lines. But still orders of magnitude fewer than many other compilers. Okay, that worked. That's great. So we're going to get rid of a global database. We're going to get rid of, oops, I'm in the wrong file. Going to get rid of this thing. And we're going to get rid of this. And so we still need the symbol, I think, but we don't need that. Okay, that's really like, I mean, that's all I wanted to get done today. Like this task expanded to earlier in the day, but like really that makes me very happy that that's done. Now we can look at some of these other ones. Like I don't know why we have type section and type table extern, right? Seems a little redundant, but let's just check in for a minute. Run that now. Fairly small compared to modern compilers. Yes, it is fairly small. Why do I have array.cpp? Isn't it a template struct? Yes, but uh, you don't need to put everything in the header file. If it's just because the entry points are templated doesn't mean that everything has to be. Put it that way. I don't think there's much in array.cpp. Let's see. There used to be more. So for a while, this array like only stored pointer size things, so there was more here. So now it's like, well, you know, not very much. There's not very much code in this file. We almost might as well put it in the header at this point, except this, I mean, you need that to be in a file. So yeah. Is Unity a good place to start learning programming? I don't think so. It's way too big and complex of a system, and it's got tons of bugs. I don't think it's a good place to start learning programming. No. I would say that about any, you don't want to learn programming in any big engine. It's just not a good system for learning. Okay, so what is type table extern? This is for this hack that we have in, yes. Does that still exist? I think it does. Yep. Yeah, we don't have a way to import non-procedure symbols right now. So we pretend that it's something else. So that's what that is for, type table extern. Now what about the other one? Type section. I guess that's different because it's not necessarily table, except that it might be an actual. Okay, so here's where we make the type section. And we happen to know that the type table is at the start of it, but okay. Type table is at the start of the type section right now. This may not always be true, so there's two variables here. Okay, what is this baked strings? I don't think we need this. We're just, sometimes cruft accumulates. I kind of feel like that's not doing anything. Let's find out. Yeah, honestly, if you want to learn to program, I mean, you could play a video game like Opus Magnum or something. Or, I mean, there's some video games that are more explicitly about programming, but some of them are not that good, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to run these very slow tests again with that one line removed. It's going to be fine. But this gives me an excuse to be lazy and hang out in chat, right? Right. So it's all good. I want to look into recommending NAND to Tetris. Um, I don't think NAND to Tetris is necessarily a good intro to programming. I think that's more like a second course, right? Or something like intro to programming should just be like you learn some simple commands in a simple syntax and you learn how to make programs with them, right? And then once you've got the hang of that, and once you can do programs that are interesting, then you could do something like NAND to Tetris, where it's like, okay, we're going to show you how this happens and we're going to build it up, right? So NAND to Tetris is good. I just don't think it's the first programming. I do not know when Star Code Galaxy will be ready. That is up to Casey. Like, I get the feeling, again, if he didn't have standards, he could probably just release it any time, right? But he wants to make things good, so sometimes that takes time. Pico 8, yeah, I don't know what it's like to program Pico 8. Um, I don't know. I mean, to me, the resolution seems a little too limited. Like, there is a good thing about low resolution, like same as with PuzzleScript. Like, if you can't do finely detailed things, you're not going to try, and then that's going to save you a lot of development time. So that's actually good. But like, I felt like games like Slipways and Dank Tomb um, suffered playability wise from Pico 8 because I couldn't see what the fuck things were, especially Dank Tomb. Like there just weren't enough pixels for me to know what surfaces were walls and what were floors and stuff. Um, so that at that point it becomes bad. Why not just C in a text editor? Because C sucks when you make mistakes. It's a lot better than it used to be, but it still really sucks at telling you what mistake you made. It could be a lot better. Like there's really not much wrong with the C programming language itself. It's just the compilers are bad, even though they're much better than they used to be, right? Um, there are some things that are bad about C, like the type conversions in C are stupid and don't make any sense. But it's not that bad. Um, but I mean, the problem is people are going to return stuff declared on the stack all the time and whatever, right? And you need to tell them that that's exactly what they did and how to fix it. And nobody seems to care about that. It also prepares you for the real world. That is true. Well, I don't know if you've noticed the real world, but the real world is mostly really bad programmers who use Python or JavaScript. So maybe C doesn't prepare you for the real world anymore. C++ with all the stuff stripped off. Yeah, I mean, certain people have made that. All right, so we've been thinking about how to expand the beta for the compiler. Because it's starting to get to be time to do that again. We have about 100 users, and um, like that's pretty good. It's still enough for now. Like we're still fixing bugs at a reasonable rate, but at some point, we're going to want to raise that further. And we're at the point where like I'm manually Gmailing 100 people every time from my Google contacts. So getting more organized about that mailing list and all this stuff. And we were thinking um, about doing some kind of system so that I don't have to manually pick who's in the beta anymore. However, if we open it up to absolutely anyone in the universe, um, that's annoying because all sorts of grumbly internet people with no skin in the game um, now have the beta. So we were thinking of uh, what did I just do? Just waiting for so long for oh yeah, this. Okay. It's a slow night. I did a bunch today. I had a bunch of meetings today. We made some decisions about what to do on some of the games today. It's a good day. Anyway, remove unneeded variable backend. Okay. So I'm going to run a poll. So basically, one way to ensure people have skin in the game and are really going to maybe participate is if they pay a little bit to get in, right? Because um, that means it was worth something to them, and uh, it just there's correlation that people who it's like if you pay for a game on Steam, you're probably going to play it. Whereas if you got it for 1 penny in a bundle with like 73 other games, you're probably not going to play it, right? So it's like that. And then also we might be able to fund the compiler a little bit, depending on what version of this we do. So I'm gonna run some Twitter polls here. Um, how do I run a poll? It's one of these. They keep changing the things. Is it under community? Roles manager, activity, content, extensions. Well, I'm gonna run a poll. You don't have to type it. As soon as I figure out a poll, where did it go? Content. Where did they put it? Oh, is it just over here? Do I add a ting tangler? Poll. Manage your poll. Okay. We have a poll button now. I don't know why mine went away, but we have one now. All right. So we're going to do one where we just ask the question, would you pay to get into the compiler beta initially closed source? Um, um, I can't type because my laptop's so slow. This would still be closed source beta like everybody has. However, if companies want to get source and they're organized and stuff, they can contact me, right? But the general thing would be closed source. And yes, No, only if it is super cheap. I can't type a period here. That's the character limit for a poll, people. This is how much you can do. All right, so 2-minute poll. Is there any other option that we should put? What is super cheap? That is subjective for now. We will quantify that in a follow-up poll. All right, I'm gonna run the poll now. So we'll see what people say. And we will do follow-up poll in a moment. Because one of the things I would like to do, if I can figure out how to fund compiler work, then we can hire more people to support the compiler, right, and to make it better. And so there's some things we might do, depending. All right, let's see. What are the people saying? Wait, you can pay bits for extra votes? Is that a thing? Yeah, if you have too much stuff to do, just vote no, right? Like this is just a very this is not a question about whether in some universe you would do it. It's just like, would you be playing around with it right now? Okay, so the trend so far is 50% yes, 21% no, 29% only if it is super cheap, where super cheap is unquantified. And like I said, we will quantify that in a minute. You guys know Broken Student super cheap. Look, the reason doesn't matter, right? The reason why no or the reason why super cheap doesn't matter. This isn't a moral choice, right? It's just information. Poll is ending very quickly. Better hurry up if you want to get your vote in. All right. So a little less than 50%, 43 people out of out of about 100 respondents. Okay. So let's do another poll. New poll. How much would you pay to get into beta? And I don't say this because I'm an evil capitalist. I say this because, we're trying to figure out how to fund the compiler, right? So one way to do it, there's multiple things we could do, but if we're gonna charge a fee for um, beta membership, how do I say it? There's sort of two ways to do it. One is we have like price tiers like you would have on Kickstarter, right? Like it could look a lot like a Kickstarter where it says, here's what you get for this tier of membership. There probably wouldn't be a huge, well, anyway, Kickstarter model is one way to do it. Another way to do it that could maybe help us fund the compiler a little bit better because it would probably raise more, would be to actually pick a set number of slots at any given time and just auction them, right? So we could say, hey, we're letting 20 new people into the beta. Here's auction proceedings, and we just pick the top 20, right? Which is less great if you're poor, right? But it's more good for funding the compiler. Um, so I'm thinking about all these things, thinking about other stuff too. Um, and if we did an auction, I think we would always have a wild card because you don't want people who are broke to not have any possibility. So like we would have some kind of random choice as well, where it's like, okay, we let 22 people into the beta, and 20 of them are the top 20, and then two of them are randomly chosen out of everybody else who, pledges at least $1 or something, right? Just so that if you're broke, you still have a chance to get in before forever. Um, okay, so I'm going to name some numbers here, and some of them are going to sound very high to people. Um, but keep in mind, I have to run a software company, right? And software companies just hemorrhage money. All right, so the choices are over that much, over that much, over that much, over that much, or under that much. So really cheap can be anywhere in the bottom choice. Um, if I had 6, I would break it down further, but there we go. Actually, 150 are too close, probably. I should have said 20, 120, but note that exactly 50 is not represented in this poll. If you pay 1,000, you're trolling. Well, that's no. I mean, look, that's the option for like, if people just want to support the project and help pay people to work on the project, then we should give them a way to do that, right? So part of what that's asking is like, how many people have that kind of spare cash to throw around to help? Again, it's not a moral judgment, it's not a value judgment. It's just collecting information from people, right? And keep in mind, this is a self-report, right? So self-reports are never accurate, actually. Yeah. So we have two people who have jobs. No, uh, that's uh, that's not a good way to say it. There are plenty of jobs where you still wouldn't have $1,000 to throw at a random thing. Um, yeah. So as you expect, right? This is how most things go. Anytime you set pricing, the lower prices have much more representation, right? And then as you go higher in price, um, it's less. But you can see some interesting things, right? So for example, if you pick 250 as your price, if it was a fixed price and you didn't let people pay more if they want to, right? If you pick 250 as your price, you sell 6 at 250, right? Which is 1,500, right? Whereas if you pick 1,000 at your price, you could sell 3 at 1,000, which is double the amount of revenue, right? Um, so it's like uh, pr pricing is complex. Okay, so as we expect, um, it's mostly in decreasing order of how cheap, with a weird singularity at 250, because like $100 to people is like, you know a moderately expensive but not crazy break the bank kind of expense. And I think as you get over $100, right, like a game console is in the hundreds of dollars, right? And once you start getting over that, it's like, oh, that's a thing. Sounds like 1,000 is the winner. No, I don't know. Like, I don't think we would do a fixed price to get into the beta. It's just that asking that makes the question simpler, right? So I could just see what people have to say about it, right? Um, yeah. Anyway, interesting information that uh, I will use to continue to think about things. people who pay 1,000 plus are contributing to the project and would pay that at any tier? I mean, maybe, maybe not, right? You don't necessarily know. So famously, software that runs off donations hardly gets any donations, and those people are poor, right? And it's not because people don't like the software or don't like the idea of giving donations, it's just they don't when you get around to it, right? So there's something about optionality that makes people not support financially in ways that otherwise they would, right? Sell the compiler library by library? No. No, 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 no. Why not sell it to more than 20 people? Well, we will eventually, right? The idea, when I say like 20, it's like that's in one cohort because we don't want to add people too fast. And if we did a fixed price model, what we would do is we would have the price be um, relatively high sooner and then drop over time, right? As well, because that way it's like, oh, what are you getting for paying a lot? Well, you get in earlier, right? Part of it is having to provide financial details to random sites. Yeah, totally. No, I know. I know how it is. Like, I just hate filling out web forms for anything, right? Twitter employees have to pay $10,000 to get in. Twitter employees might be banned, and I'm not necessarily trolling. Like, like we might have a ban on violators of civil rights or civil liberties. What about Twitter users? I think that's fine. Is there a syntax for constant function parameters? Yes, there is. What about web developers? Depends. Depends. Okay. Um, well, that was interesting information. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit before we do something like that. Um, who knows? We might not charge. We might do it as an experiment. Um, we'll see. What about people who invested a long time moving to Rust and would need to be convinced to drop that sunk cost? I mean, people can make whatever decision they want about using whatever language they want, right? I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm no cheap ho charge. Yeah, I mean it's only really useful to charge if you're gonna make a decent amount of money. So I think we would at least run some initial experiment and see how well it goes. Because you really like again, so in the short term, we don't actually want to release the thing to everybody, right? Because it's too many users. Like we still want to hone some stuff before the user base gets too big. So um it's sort of a way for people to help have fun with it and help support the game. Um, and so forth, or support the language. Glad you liked The Witness. We worked hard on that game. Yeah, but like I said, even if we charge, we will have we will have some gateway for people to get in if they don't have a bunch of money. Like that will just be a thing no matter what. Um, but um, it, it's still, if a trillion people apply for the cheap tickets, you might not have a good chance of getting them, right? So maybe people can pay for tooling. No, I mean, the thing is, I kind of feel like, so the video game model, right, is you have a free to play game, um, and you pay for hats and stuff, right? But you get the whole game, right? As soon as it's like pay to play and you get a better thing than somebody else, it's like, well, I guess the thing that makes that bad is that you're playing against the other people, right? So maybe that makes more sense in a language scenario. But honestly, honestly, what makes this language successful or not is how good it is to program in, right? So if you hold back the good part from the majority of people in order to get money from the minority of people, you're kind of hindering the success of the programming language. And so I think it's got to be more the equivalent of hats in some way, or the privilege of being early. Please create some sort of newsletter. Um, yeah, we might do that. We might do that. Okay. So I will continue to do my research about those things offline, and we'll do something eventually. How do you use Emacs? You run Emacs and type Emacs characters. Okay. So, and no, just to reemphasize, no matter what, the programming language will eventually be free to everyone, right? Um, the point is, though, to before that time happens, to try to get some support for development, so we can maybe hire more people to work on it and stuff. Although, hiring people is expensive, so who knows? All right, what do I do? I'm a little tired. We have barely done any programming work on this stream, though. Um, what should I do? I sort of finished this thing, so I could look in the mailbag for bug snacks. I do seem to remember there were a couple that were weird. Let's do that. Let me, because I want to ship a beta tomorrow when I get home. I was going to ship one tonight, but I want to test some stuff on a Linux that has graphics, and this computer can't really draw graphics from the WSL, or at least if that works, I don't know how to make it work. Um, so, yeah, I am gonna check the mailbag. How about sponsors? Well, yeah, we that is an alternate route that we could go. Um, we'll see. We will see. Like the thing about sponsorships is, um, those are probably more effective if you have a bigger user base, right? Because sponsorships are essentially a kind of advertising. And right now, if people are advertising to like under 100 people, it's like, well, it's hard to argue that that's a commercially sensible thing. I mean, unless those are Davos attendees, right? All right, so let's see what some of the Bugsnax are. 68-bit hexadecimal integer allowed. That doesn't sound very good. It doesn't sound that bad though. What is this one? Complete isn't handled correctly. Yeah. That one I maybe want more brain power. Intermittent insert string corruption. All right. So that one, even if we don't solve it tonight, module parameter not constant. That one hopefully is easy. And then this one, all right. Reading an email from someone who's, yeah. Okay. Anyway. Let's see. Down. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Hold a second. Okay. 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 So, this, do we have a main here? Oh, all right. I'm going to rename this so it's easy. Okay, was this the too big number? What was this? Okay, that's not that interesting, but we'll fix it. Too many bits, 68 bits. So I did recently change the overflow detection, and I guess it is incorrect. Oh boy. So let's go take a look at that. Unreal Engine is keeping your real-world game dev acquaintances in C++ forever. Why is that? I thought Unreal Engine, the whole thing about it was it supports you writing DLLs in any language now, right? Isn't that a thing that they did? Or does that not work very well, or what? I thought they did that like a couple years ago now. Okay. Digit accumulator is less than or equal to value, we go overflowed. I bet I don't actually know what's going on here. So this is a hex number, right? Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. And I mean, I could break in parsing a hex number. The problem is we're still going to have default metaprogram and all that stuff. So I could break in parsing a hex number on line 8. Why is this? Okay. So that's on line 625. All right. Okay. Oh, we're not running on the right program. So hold on. Stop everything. Calling C++ for anything else is horrible. Yeah, it is kind of true. It's unfortunate that the core of the engine is in C++ and not C, honestly. C++ is not very friendly to integration from anywhere else. All right, so we have a current file name variable. Current file name. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm just going to jump down to the overflow part. We're going to see if we hit that, because it could be that we set these flags. And we just don't respond to them later. All right. Let's see. Line 764. So we're just gonna see which of these we hit, if either. It's taking a long time. I don't like that. Really? Well, you can always just go through every digit. right, so digit value is going to be one of these. I mean, okay, we're just going to go every time we're going to look at the digit accumulator. So we're going to go digit accumulator, which will be E right now. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so bam. Old value is definitely non-negative. Is digital accumulator. Okay, is digit accumulator signed? No. Okay, right. This is not, okay. This was written a long time ago, assuming signed overflow. So this is weird. How do we test this? Because the E scrolled off, right? How do we want to do it? So we could say the maximum value before you add a new digit is your thing divided by the base, right? Like we could catch it first. That doesn't work always for base 10. This is probably not the longest variable name in this project. It is up there though. Hmm. So there's two ways of checking for overflow, right? One is, well, the actual fast way is if the frickin' programming language let me access the CPU flags. The CPU knows if I overflowed or not, okay? Um, but we don't really get access to that still, as far as I know. And that makes things like this annoying. So I could break out Hacker's Delight, but I don't have the book with me. I know that it says how the most efficient way to detect unsigned overflow. So we're doing unsigned overflow here, and then if it's too big for signed, we check that later. But this is just, we're storing the digit value in you're storing the digit value in a U64. You need something that checks if the leading bit switches from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. I don't think the leading bit necessarily matters. It's just about like you could do it in a really slow way, by saying, right, for this particular, like the problem is base 10. Like base 16 is easy, base 2 is easy because you just say there's a maximum number of digits you can shift, right? The problem is with base 10, it doesn't fit evenly into the number of bits that you have, right? And so to know if you overflowed, you need to say, well, you don't need to, like, okay, one way to do it is you know what the highest number is that is guaranteed to fit if it's that many digits, right? Like there's some base 10 number that's like, okay, um, does it work that way? So you have this old value, right? There's a last number of digits where old value times 10 will definitely fit, right? And after that, you have, well, old value times 10 plus 0 fits, old value times 10 plus 1 fits, da da da, but old value times 10 plus 7 is going to overflow, right? Maybe that's not a number of digits thing. The problem is you can't use the less than to detect overflow. I could look it up on the internet, but I want to think about it. Why not just x is less than or equal to max minus digit divided by base? Well, if you do an integer divide by the base, um, that's lossy, right? Like you throw away the remainder. Let me think though. You can definitely break it into two steps, right? You could say, do I have room to multiply by the base, right? And then you can say, do I have room to add the remaining value, the digit value, right? And in every base but 10 that we support, so the bases we support are 2, 10, and 16. And for 2 and 16, you don't have to do that second check because if you can multiply by 2, then you can add, like the base is an even power of 2 in both cases. So you don't need to check if you overflow with the digit. You only need to check if you overflow with the multiply. So we could say if the old value, right, so for each base, we can be like, do we have room to multiply by 10? And then we can say, do you have room to add if it's base 10? Am I in Vermont? No, I'm not in Vermont. Okay, so to figure out the value that you could multiply by 10, 4 base 10. I don't think you want FFFF, etc. divided by 10 because, like I said, that throws away the remainder, right? So you want FFFF divided by 10 plus 9, right? Let's try this real fast. Um, I'm just going to put it here. I'm just doing the plus 8 because, I don't know. Okay, and then I just want to make sure that I didn't overflow on one of them, right? Okay. Oh, it's called print. It's called printf. Dude, it took so long for this thing to get to my file that I actually switched over and fixed it before it did. All right, so I could just go here. All right. So one with a bunch of 9s, right? Oh, no, that overflowed. Is my brain not working tonight? Hold on, let's just do divided times 10. Oh, you want to do this. Right. You actually want that. Sometimes I'm very slow. Okay, yeah. So you see we multiply by 10 and it doesn't get us all the way there. Um, but here, this is the highest digit that we could have, right? So we set some boundary condition here, and if we hit that, then we check that our number is, yeah, okay. Okay, so let's go back to the Lexer. Um, we don't want to make hex float, make number, okay. So we're gonna go all Fs, and then we're gonna go let's just do this. So we have base 10, we have base 2, and base 16, right? So these should all be compile time so far, right? Where does this base? Because we check base down here. Oh, I see. Okay, so we set the base. And we say start in base 10, overflow, check, lower bound, I don't know. So like we just, if we see a digit, this is weird because we do this even if we accept, okay, it's fine. I should set this elsewhere. It's stupid to set it for each digit, but we're going to be correct right now, and we'll factor it out later. We'll factor it out later. Like this, both of these variables, I think we can just set when we set this flag, right? Like, okay. Um, okay. If old value is greater than or equal to, wait, no, okay. If digit accumulator is greater than or equal to overflow check lower bound. Um, okay. We do a thing. I don't understand this 7FFF's down here. Let's do the ol here. Um, yeah. Let me just start doing this. So limits is all f's minus overflow check lower bound if digit accumulator will go if digit accumulator is greater than limit, pretty sure it's greater and not greater than or equal, then we could say we overflowed. All right, and then I think this can be used for a different thing. So I actually don't know why if we're checking old value. If old value is 0, we can't get this high. So I'm just going to do this. I think that was, all right. So you'll note I'm checking this and then this, but this is less than all our other things. Right? Actually, no. Yes, yes, it is. Um, so we could check this first and like only have. I'm not going to node check in it, but okay. I probably broke that real bad. Integer literal is too big. That's not right. Let's see. Let's see when we set this. Okay. Limit is FO. What? Right. Hold on. I didn't. Okay, I did it wrong. This part, these are stupid variable names. But they're truth in advertising. Truth in advertising. Okay. Still the literal is too big. Okay, this is better. Overflow check lower bound is good. Old value. Digit accumulator is greater than or equal to. Limit is all F's, right? So if digit accumulator, oh no, this is supposed to be digit value, guys. We want to check the single digit, not everything. All right. Hey, okay, except no, because that program is supposed to compile. Let's make sure Sokoban and all that stuff runs. Actually, no, it's not. So it's supposed to catch the actual error in the program, right? It's supposed to catch this. So why didn't it? Do we get here? Current line number is equal to 8. Dude, look at this. I can't even. I can't click OK. This window has been slowly shrinking on me for reasons that I don't understand. I can't click OK on the breakpoint because it's like out. This isn't Windows, this is Visual Studio. When they rewrote, they had the summer intern rewrite the interface. Like, what do? I guess I just restart Visual Studio now. I really had preferred to get some work done, but let's see if that might not even fix it. You just scroll to the right. No, it's off the bottom. It wasn't off to the right. It's off the bottom. but it's off the bottom in the tiny sub window. Like there's no way to scroll that. All right. Oh, I needed to set my breakpoint. Oh, it set it. I guess, okay, see, this is what you're supposed to see. Never mind that on my laptop, 100% of the time it's off the screen and I have to manually, like, that's super annoying. But yeah. Okay, so this is line number 8, right? Current file name, current line number. Great. Okay, so why is this still here? Okay, digit value is F, limit is F. So maybe it's greater than or, okay, hold on. Digit accumulator already scrolled off. So we act, okay, do we need 2 checks? So we need to check against, right? So my flaw is that the maximum before the add is not the same as the maximum before the multiply. Of course it's not. Visual Studio and SF really put the progressive in progressively worse. Hey, did you see that video that went around today about the dude stealing from Walgreens? Progressive policies, man. It's a pretty great video. What does everyone think of data science? It is a dumb euphemistic name for advertising analysts. It should just be called advertising analysts or something. Okay, so before the multiply, all right, let's just do it with 2 numbers. And I just want to get it correct tonight, and we'll look up the Hacker's Delight version later, probably tomorrow night. Um, So we actually don't need these times 10s, actually, because we're going to do a different thing. I claim. We're going to use this differently. We're going to just use this for before the multiply, right? We're going to say if old value is greater than or equal to overcheck, we probably need a better limit on that. If it's greater, say overflowed, all right? Now, do the multiply. Then we say we do this. This seems annoying because you keep making new values, but it's actually, unless you actually have an integer multiply add, this doesn't. This is also silly though, because if you just could do assembly, you would just check the overflow flag. Like, oh my God, right? All right, so if digit accumulator is less than pre-add, then we overflowed. Surely there's a better way to do this. I know Hacker's Delight has a better way to do this. Oops. I probably should check for that before doing all this, but I kind of just, there we go. Integer literal is too big. Thank you. Now let's try the tests. Whoops. We can run them in x64, so they'll go a bit faster than the LLVMs. We just want to make sure that we don't get a spurious, incorrect claim that a value is too big. Would there be a compiler intrinsic for doing this? Maybe. Maybe. Okay, so Hacker's Delight unsigned integer overflow. Overflow detection. Signed add. When overflow occurs, hold on. Unsigned add. With the result being in the signed position, the expressions involving a right shift are probably, oh God. Okay, so this isn't actually that simple. See, the reason we actually have a simpler case here, because we're repeatedly multiplying by the same number. So we like actually know what we're doing. Oops, I just paged off chat. Hello, rating people. What is up? What is up? Me with my poor old, not good hotel room laptop camera. We're probably going to end soon. Yeah, so this overflow checking, I'm not into this. I would much rather use a CPU flag, which we can look into next stream. Well, we could look into it now, but we won't do it now. Safe int classes? No. No. Oh, God. It's... All right. No, nobody... Programmers are so bad now that, like, nobody even does this. Is the laptop holding up? I'm about to throw it out a window. I bought a Razer. That's how desperate I am. It'll get shipped to my place on Friday. All right, so that worked, and the other thing worked. So we're gonna check this in. This is called integer overflow detection. Now catches some cases it had missed before. We'll put that in the change log as well, but the change log is not modified. I did this at the top here. Boom. So as soon as I do this one, I think we could ship this beta. And then this is something that I'll do like next time. It's been like a week since we shipped a beta, guys. Oh my gosh. What? It's what happens when I travel. It's like things are less efficient, I guess. This got hairy. The add data segment stuff got hairy. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, anyway. Let's revert that because that's not meaningful. Clang has built-in mul overflow. Okay. So Visual Studio probably has something as well. Is their built-in mul overflow actually fast? Like, does it actually use the flags? Let's do a search for that. Please implement. It has been queued up for prioritization. Guys, you obviously should have this. Like, this should not require queuing for prioritization. Holy crap. Okay, you guys are fired. Not you, chat. The Microsoft people are fired. I'm amazed it took until 3 years ago for someone to suggest that. Like, it should have just been, like, it should be in C, honestly. Why am I using a 3DS camera? That's just what's on this laptop. It's very sad. Also, like, it's low lighting conditions. So cheaper webcams don't do well in low light conditions, right? Something like that. So I think that's going to be it for the stream. Um, we're gonna, yes, it's queued for prioritization. I think that means we'll take it under advisement, right? We'll we'll take it under advisement, queue it for prioritization, and there are top men working on it. Top men. Someone gets the reference. All right. Thank you everybody for coming by. I've been traveling and stuff, so we haven't done much in the way of streams, but we'll do some when I get back on my real camera. And I think we'll be trying to deliver value to the people tomorrow night. Um, yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you later.